Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, The Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have another community steel video, but I want to dive on into a couple things here before I actually start rolling out the tanks and showing everybody today's projects. I know this is the 50th episode of Community Steel, and I actually did have something special planned for this episode. However, because of timing and how things are going to work out, I've decided to actually kind of kibosh that and put that on hold for now. And I'm going to plan something special, hopefully in the near future, when it comes to Sprocket and Community Steel to kind of celebrate how far this has actually gone, because this whole Community Steel thing has definitely gone much further than I ever would have anticipated. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been watching Sprocket since day one can probably actually agree with me on that statement. So with that being said, I actually had promised my YouTube fan base a while ago that when we hit 2,000 subscribers, that I was going to do a special video. And, well, that's actually kind of what's getting crossed up in this, is because I am actually about to hit 2,000 subscribers. I might even hit 2,000 subscribers by the time this video goes live. And essentially what it comes down to is I had plans to do an Armored Warfare replay of the Roy Cat. Actually, it may be Rui Cat. I think it's Rui Cat. Either ways, it's a South African armored car that in Armored Warfare is a tier 5 piece of shit that I have no love for. So I'm going to have to suffer to collect this Armored Warfare replay. And for the subscriber special, I'm actually going to be doing a giveaway. That's why I'm putting a giveaway actually on hold for the 50th episode of Community Steel. I figured it would be better to do a much larger giveaway for a milestone that I've been trying to achieve for a while now, and that not just the Sprocket community took part of, but also other people of just my community in general took part of. If hopefully I'm explaining it to where everyone can understand what I'm getting at. But essentially what it comes down to is I'm putting a giveaway on hold now so I can have a bigger giveaway later where more people are more than likely going to be interested in. So keep, subscribe to the channel and follow and catch updates and everything else, and get yourself in that giveaway when I do that 2,000 subscriber special, which, like I said, should be pretty directly here at the rate things are going. Anyway, the Roy Cat, what do I feel about it? Well, fuck this thing with a pineapple. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into today's episode of Community Steel. And kicking off today's episode is the Nashorn from Obey the Lion. This weighs in at 20.31 tons. It does have the 88 millimeter main gun with 169 millimeters of penetration, because bitches like penetration. And this is for the late war period, and I want to say this is actually a really good model of the Nashorn, which is actually translates as rhino, if I remember correctly. Understand, I'm not a pro when it comes to German, but all in all, I think the vehicle looks really great. He's got the enclosed ammo bins, the ammo cabinets, if you will. The gun itself looks great, how he has it mounted and everything else. Even has the scope over the gun shield, which I do believe that actually is 100% accurate to the Nashorn. The Germans were pretty good about having a cutout for the optic, but I do believe for the Nashorn they were trying something else and actually having the scope over the gun shield instead of through the gun shield. That way the gun shield could actually be stronger. It also makes the gun shield a little bit easier because now they don't have to cut a hole in it. Now that being said, side-to-side traverse is really good. The up-down angle is really good. Mobility is actually pretty decent for a Nashorn. Better than I would have anticipated, to be honest. Now that being said, the armor is, the armor's shit, but, it's a tank destroyer. You don't expect much in the way of armor when it comes to a vehicle like this. Now, with that being said, the gun is just superb. I found it to be pretty accurate at these longer ranges, although at times it felt a little ineffective, and I think that was more how Sprocket is currently with its armor-piercing ammunition compared to actually how effective the gun really is. But all in all, I found actually the vehicle to be pretty good. And Obey the Line, I feel, did actually a really good job on the Nassmore. Now, the next vehicle I have for you here is the LTVP68R from XXIT. I really don't know how to pronounce it. Exit, I guess. Yeah, I guess that would be right, huh? It'd be Exit. But in any case, this is his 26.04 ton tank. It's created for the late war period. It's got an 88 millimeter main gun with 261 millimeters of penetration. Woof. And then it's also got a 20 millimeter autocannon that's only got 16 millimeters of penetration. But then it's got 4 rocket launchers. Folks, it's got 4 rocket launchers with 103 millimeters of penetration. The rocket launchers aren't all that good. But in any case, I find this to actually be a really interesting vehicle. It's pretty lightweight for its time frame. It kind of crosses in the middle of being a pseudo-medium light tank, if you will. The turret traverse is really good. I'd actually think more or less this is probably more like a modern war tank than a late war tank, but it is what it is within the realm of Sprocket. It's got a lot of get up and go. It's got a hell of a lot of mobility. I actually found the main gun to be rather accurate, although the rocket launchers were kind of iffy, but they are fun to play with. It's small. It's fast. Its turret traverse is ridiculously way better than it should be. And the main gun almost points straight up in the air when you can get this thing pointing really high, which is even more ridiculous still when thinking about playing with this vehicle. So this is actually a pretty interesting one from Exit, even though maybe the title could use a little bit of work, but it's not bad all in all. All right, so the next vehicle I have here is the E75M, and this is from Leopard. And yeah, I mean, it's an E75, so it looks like an oversized King Tiger tank, which is basically an E75. It weighs in at 97.36 tons, so it barely makes the limit for a mission. I believe the maximum tank you can take in Taiga is 100 tons. So it's pretty beefy. Now it is armed with a 105 millimeter main gun, and it's got 225 millimeters of penetration. I found the gun to be very good here, very accurate, good amount of penetration, although there was times I got some weird bounce because I'm old and shit, and sometimes the shells hit spots just weird enough that they don't penetrate, because we don't have things like hull break and automatic penetration mechanics. Now, of course, this is for the late war period. Rendition-wise, I don't know if it's right on the money of an E75. I do like the look of this, and suspecting that it's an E75M, I didn't really take a close look at it, and I kind of regret that now as I'm sitting here talking about it. But if anybody remembers correctly, the E50M was the exact same as the E50, except for the transmission was in the rear. And I'm kind of suspecting that's the case here, that he just tried to duplicate the E75 and put the transmission in the rear instead of having it in the front. Which, yeah, that's a good thing, to be honest. Transmissions do actually make decent armor. The only problem is when a transmission gets hit, it kind of sucks because then you can't go anywhere, can you? But all in all, I think this is a pretty good vehicle. Mobility's not the best, but in general terms, it works for a big, bulky, heavy tank. And actually, mobility wise, for a big, bulky, heavy tank like it is, it's actually fairly decent, I found, compared to a lot of them that I've been showing recently. All right, here we go, folks. It's been a while, but here it is, the return of Substep. We have the FL10 from Substep, and this is an interwar tank. I believe it's supposed to be a light tank. It only weighs in at 7.22 tons, so it's not very heavy. But it does work. It's got 45 millimeter main gun with 62 millimeters of penetration. So not all bad there. I didn't find the armor actually to be really all incredible. However, because of its small size, I did find that the enemy did struggle actually penning this thing because everything is round or angled, and basically it just made the armor really bouncy instead of thick. mobility is just absolutely superb for an interwar tank. I can't complain about the mobility whatsoever. And I do love the build. Nice rounded turret, even though it's kind of square at the front. It's got a raised engine deck, and it once again, substep, always making tanks that are fake, but builds them in a way that makes them seem like they should have been real tanks. All right, and the last victim I have here for today is the 1928 Model 25A from Pocket. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. I think it's Pocket Spaghetti. Spaghetti? I guess. Anyway, this weighs in at 40. This weighs in at 4.54 tons. And it's armed with a Maxim machine gun. And I don't understand the positioning of the Maxim machine gun. I would think you'd want it in a turret on the top or even at the front, like in the passenger seat. But this is an interwar period armor car, if you will. It's not very heavy. Mobility is actually pretty decent on it, especially on the road here. It did get up and go pretty good. Now, I do have to admit, though, I do think the machine gun's kind of hilarious because it's like, find enemy, turn around, drive away as fast as you can, and yell, "Run away!" as you're firing your machine gun as you're running for your life. Now, the machine gun actually does have a very wide arc to it. Being on the rear, it's got some okay elevation and depression, but I'm still just scratching my head at why do you want a machine gun in the rear of all places, except for unless you're trying to run away. That's why I think you'd want a turret, but I could be mistaken. I mean, a turret would also make the vehicle itself bigger, so yeah, I guess there's that. But yeah, I think it's rather cool, and of course, because I'm old and shit, I ended up getting it stuck here. So, yeah, old and shit, as per normal. Getting vehicles stuck. Ever since Community Steel episode 1, folks. But anyway, that wraps up the 50th episode of Community Steel. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. And hopefully I'll catch you all for the next Community Steel, as well as the 2K sub giveaway that I'm going to do, or 2K sub special, if you will. Anyway, folks, once again, thank you very much, and have yourself a wonderful day.